Students, good morning everyone. So here we are for your accounts class. You all know we have started with chapter number 7 of your book, that is journal. So here now we will proceed with the topics of journal, and the very first topic which we are going to cover is double entry system of accounting. So before proceeding with the topic of chapter number 7 journal, let me go through the learning objectives of this chapter. First of all, meaning of an account, classification of accounts, double entry system, meaning of journal, rules of journalizing, simple and compound journal entries, advantages of using journal, opening entry. In this topic, you will come to know about the following key terms and you will be able to know them properly. First of all, source documents, invoice, cash receipt, check, memo, paying slip, asset account, liability account, expense account, revenue account, and capital account. So you all know these days people are almost working in big companies. They don't have time for the eating and preparation of food which is fresh and hot. So for that, many companies come into existence which provide for the facility of refrigeration processed food which is carried from one place to another. And for such purpose, many trucks, refrigeration trucks, have been introduced by many companies. So these companies have a large number of trucks transporting processed chilled food material from one place to another. All over the world we have number of refrigeration companies, truck fleet companies like PepsiCo, Cisco Corporation, Coca-Cola Company, US Foods, Reyes Holdings, CHS, Gordon Food Services, Basic Energy Services, FEMSA Logistica, Schlumberger, Performance Food Group, Tyson Foods. Other than that, you have many companies, your own very well-known Mahindra Group. Their trucks make sure that the products remain fresh during the whole travel from one remote area to another. Many other companies, Hyundai, Meritor, they are also in the same business. So, while conducting the business, they have to go through the various accounting treatments. Now let us help them to know about the accounting processes which they have to cover while performing the task of different business activities. Let us take an overlook of source documents used in such truck fleet companies for their purpose. First of all, accounting contains certain genuine financial information, so journal must be supported by documentary evidence. As you all know, journal is a collection in which we put the transactions or events which take place in an organization in a chronological order. This document also serves as legal evidence in case of any dispute, in case of any conflict among the employees, among the management, among any other authority. This document serves as legal proof to resolve the conflict. The most common transactions which are recorded in the books of accounts on the basis of evidences such as bills of purchases, invoices for sales, debit note, credit note, These evidences being the basis of entry in the books of account are known as source documents. Rules of debit and credit are applied to each transaction and are recorded in the books of original entry, that is journal, and special purpose books, which we will discuss in this chapter and also in the coming chapters. But these all transactions are recorded in a chronological order, in the order they take place. The entries recorded in these books of accounts are posted or transferred to the specific accounts maintained in the ledger. First of all, we will talk about invoice. An invoice is a document which is prepared when one person sells goods to another. It contains name of the seller, customer, the date of sale, description of goods sold, quantity of goods, rate of goods. Invoice is generally prepared in triplicate, that is 3 copies of invoice is prepared for one transaction at the same time. It is prepared by the seller of the goods, one who sell the goods. First of all, first copy is sent to the buyer of the goods, one who has made the purchases. Second copy of invoice is sent to accounts department of the seller for accounting purposes. Third copy is kept by the sales department of the seller for accounting purposes. Now, if you look at the pro forma of invoice, you can see here that first of all, on left hand side, the name of the company is mentioned, their proper address. On the right hand side, we record the date on which it is made, invoice number, then description of the products which are sold, it is given, how much quantity that is described, price per item is given in the form, and total of all data is then taken. This is prepared in 3 statements, 3 copies, and then is forwarded, 1 to the buyer, 2nd to the accounts department, and 3rd to the sales department. Next is cash receipt. When cash is received, a receipt is issued to the person paying the cash. Simple example, you go to a temple, you pay donation there, they give you a receipt. What is that? A cash receipt. That is, you have paid some amount to them. It is prepared in duplicate. You must notice, when a simple cash receipt is signed, is described, carbon paper is placed and it is made in 2 copies. 1 copy is given to a person making the payment, other copy is kept by the cashier receiving the payment. Cash receipt contains date of issue, name of the party paying the cash, check or demand draft, and the amount to be received. So here there is a format of cash receipt. On left hand side we write date, right hand side we write receipt number, amount which you have received, address of the person who has given you money, amount given by him, what is the purpose for which the amount is given. Now if amount is large, then a proper account is maintained if it is not made at the same time. Total amount, amount paid, and balance due if the whole amount is not clear. Then on the other side, payment description is given, that what amount is given by cash, what is given by check, and others. Then the authorized signatory who has prepared the cash receipt give his initials on the paper so that he confirms his evidence as a proof which he can kept with him. Also on the cash receipt the name of the business is mentioned so that it become a bona fide existing document. Next is counterfoil pay-in slip. Pay-in slips are the standard forms issued by the banks for depositing cash or checks into the bank. So not all of you, many of you must visit banks. You must have your bank account or you visit with your parents. So when you want to deposit money in the bank, you ask for a form, and that form is known as pay-in slip. So look at the format given here. Here is an example of Indian Overseas Bank. On the right hand side we mention the branch name, current account number, the date of the account, detail of the account number, the person in whose favor it has to be given, how much amount is need to be deposited, then amount given in number, amount is given in number names also. Then the person who has to sign gives his signature, also gives his name and address along with the contact number. Same information is filled on the left hand side of the pay-in slip of the voucher, on which branch name, date, account number, name of the account holder, amount to be deposited in numbers and in figures is given. Then it is signed by the account holder and it is also signed by the authorized signatory who has verified that your information is correct, and now it can be returned to you after acknowledgement of the receipt. One part is kept by the bank as a proof, another part is given to the customer to be kept as a proof for a future period. Next is a check. A check is a written instrument drawn by the depositor of a specific sum to the person presenting the check to the bank. Each check has a counterfoil. The details of the payment through the check is recorded on the counterfoil. So the counterfoils form the source document regarding the payments from bank. Okay, now all of you ask your father or mother to give you a checkbook of their account for a minute. Open that checkbook. On the very first page of the checkbook, you will see a counterfoil is given. 4 columnar pages that, in which name of the person for whom check is drawn, amount, purpose and date. 4 columns are there and they are filled one by one as you draw a check upon another person to whom you want to pay the money. So here is a format of check. See, State Bank of India, name of the bank is mentioned. IFSC code is mentioned. This is the code given by the bank to its customer to maintain its security. Then date is given, name of the person in whose name you want to give the check, amount in words, amount in figures, account number. Generally, account number need not to be right. It is already printed because checkbook is a printed document. And after that, you have to put your signatures on the front of the check and also at the back of the check along with your contact number. In this way, you make payment and record the same in the counterfoil to keep a record what is the check number, like I have paid to Prashant. Then Prashant's detail along with the check number will be recorded in counterfoil. Next is cash memo. Memo is a short statement, short description, a small information. Cash memo is issued when sales are made on cash basis. It is a printed document issued by seller to the buyer which contains name of the seller, date, description of goods sold, their quantity, rate at which goods were sold. Generally, it is prepared in duplicate, that is 2 copies. One is original given to the person buying the goods, and another copy is retained by the seller for its future reference. So here you can see a format of a cash memo. Name of the company is given, address of the seller company is given, number of the cash memo, date is mentioned on the right side, quantity is described like 216 dozens, description of the goods 412, number bulbs purchased, rate per piece and amount with total of goods. Also, this is a proof by the buyer if he wants to return the goods or replace the goods, he can replace it with the help of same document. Next is when you compare the source documents of freezer trucks. Okay, you often visit bakery shops, confectionery companies distributing frozen desserts, dairy product distributors, food manufacturing businesses, distributors handling agricultural and livestock products, frozen foods, McCain, a very good example, department stores. Freezer truck strengths include a stainless steel floor with high corrosion resistance. It means in these trucks a stainless steel floor is made which never get corrodes easily, and a variety of options is there, single compressor or twin compressor depending upon how much temperature you need to preserve your food. And when we talk about the different costs involved in processing of such industry, it includes insurance, toll charges from one place to another, lease payments, driver payment, wages, repair and maintenance, fuel cost, license cost and many more. And recording of such transactions can be done only in the books of original and prime entry, that is journal. Now, FedEx Express invented express distribution and is the industry's global leader, providing rapid, reliable, time-definite delivery to more than 220 countries and territories, connecting markets that comprise more than 90% of the world's gross domestic product within 1 to 3 business days. It means this company provides frozen food, processed frozen food within 3 working days of their company to the destination. Now, when we talk about the source documents, that is invoice, cash receipt, memo, transactions are recorded in the books of account on the basis of evidences, that is proof, such as bills of purchases, invoices, sales, debit note, credit note. These proof becomes the base of entry in the books of accounts, and they are known as source documents. Some examples of source documents are cash memo, invoice, bill, cash receipts, paying slip, check, debit note, credit note, vouchers. Now, you all know in accounts we follow 3 golden rules, and we have to counteract with 3 types of accounts. One is personal account, second is real account, and third is nominal account. Debit and credit rules are applied to every transaction and are recorded in the books of original entry. Other name of books of original entry is journal and special purpose books recorded in a chronological order, that is date wise, one after another in the order in which they take place. Entries recorded in these books of accounts are transferred to the specific accounts maintained in the ledger, because after preparation of journal we are going to start learning about preparation of ledger accounts. So you all know there are 3 golden rules of accounting. Every transaction has a debit, a decrease, and has a credit also, an increase also. So as per the golden rules of accounting, what are the rules? Debit the receiver, credit the giver. Debit what comes in, credit what goes out. Debit all expenses and losses, credit all incomes and gains. Generally, rule number 1 is applicable in case of personal accounts, that is Gurpreet's account, Ram's account, XYZ company's account, truck account. Then real account deals with assets and liabilities, furniture, land, building, goodwill, and so on. In nominal account, we record all expenses and incomes, rent received, commission paid, electricity bill paid, discount received, and so on. Now, the following points should be kept in mind about the layout of journal account. Name of the account is written at the top. Account is divided into 2 identical halves separated by a central double vertical line. Left hand side is called the debit side. Right hand side is called the credit side. Date, that is the date of the transaction, is entered in the date column. In the particulars column, name of the account involved in one dealing in one transaction are entered. Then given folio or journal folio, that is page number. Simple meaning of folio is page number. It is used as a reference where original entry was recorded in the journal book. In the last column, amount transacted, that is what is its money's worth, is then recorded. Now comes meaning of debit and credit. In simple words, debit is the left side of an account signified by an abbreviation DR, and credit is the right side of an account signified by an abbreviation CR. Items are recorded on the debit side of an account is said to be debited to the account, and the excess of debit minus the amount of credit is said to be a debit balance. When you will say that my journal has a debit balance, when debits are more and credits are less. It involves 2 aspects. One is receiving aspect, another is giving aspect. Debits and credit. Then meaning of debit and credit. A debit entry signifies that value has flowed to the named account. For example, payment to a creditor signifies that payment has been made for the goods purchased from him. Thus, his account is debited by the amount paid. An item recorded on the credit side of an account is said to be credited to that account, and the excess of credit over debit side is said to be a credit balance. That is, credit minus debit is equals to credit balance. Debit minus credit is equals to debit balance. For example, you received a cash from a debtor. It means debtor made you payment for the goods purchased. Therefore, you have received cash and you will now credit the account of debtor with the amount received. So, this concept of debit and credit gave rise to double entry system of bookkeeping. That is, each transaction has two aspects. One is receiving or incoming aspect, that is debit aspect. Another aspect is giving or outgoing aspect, that is credit aspect. Debit and credit aspects of a transaction forms the basis of double entry book, and this is called double entry system of bookkeeping. So, under the modern approach of classification of accounts are classified into 5 categories: assets account, liabilities account, capital accounts, revenue accounts, and expense accounts. First of all, we will learn about asset accounts. Accounts which relate to the economic resources of an enterprise like land, building, plant, machinery, furniture, patents, bank, inventory, cash, all are asset accounts. And what is its rule of double entry? Increase in asset, debited; decrease in asset, credited. Next comes liability account. Liability accounts are accounts of lenders, the person from whom you borrow money, creditors for goods, and outstanding expenses, that is due but not paid. So here double entry rule is decrease in liability, debited; increase in liability, credited. Next come capital accounts. These are the accounts of proprietor, that is owner of the business, or partners, those have invested money in the business. It includes capital and drawings account both. So you all must remember what is drawings. Drawings are amount withdrawn by the owner for its personal use. That is known as drawings. So here rule of double entry is, if capital account decreases, then it is debited. If capital account increases, then it is credited. Next is revenue accounts. Revenue means income and gains. For example, sales, discount received, interest received, commission received, bad debts recovered. So you all know what are bad debts? Amount which you are not sure that you will receive. I have sold goods to Rajan, but Rajan is not in a position to pay me back the amount of goods. So he is my bad debtor. And if he gave me whole amount after a certain period, then it is considered as bad debts recovered. So what is the double entry rule followed here? Debit the decrease, credit the increase. Next is expenses accounts. Accounts of all expenses or losses which are incurred for regulating or carrying on a business, like purchases, payment of wages, payment of salaries, depreciation, allowing discounts, giving rent. So what are these? These are expenses. So What are the various rules of debit and credit? Let us summarize. Increase in asset, expense is debited. Increase in liability, income and capital is credited. Decrease in asset and expenses, credited. Decrease in liability, income and capital is debited. This is known as modern approach of accounts, the classification of accounts with the aspect of double entry system of accounting. Next comes the double entry system. The double entry system of accounting or bookkeeping means for every transactions, amounts must be recorded in two minimum accounts. That there should be involvement of two accounts at the same time when you record a transaction. Double entry system requires for all transactions the amount, there should be debits and there should be credits also. So first of all, let's go through the features of double entry system of accounting. A transaction has twofold aspect. One, giving the benefit, other, receiving the benefit. A transaction is divided into two parts. One is debit, another is credit. Every debit must have an equal and corresponding credit also. For example, see the first example, machinery purchased by cash. Now, machinery is coming in the business, debit what? Comes in. Cash is going out of the business, credit what? Goes out. Next, payment of utility bills. Utility is water bill, electricity bill, sewerage bill. Then, if expense arise, it is a payment, then it is debited. Decrease in asset, it will be credited. Next is interest received on bank deposit account. You have deposited some money in your bank account and bank has credited your account with an increase in money. That is known as interest received on bank deposit account. If your bank is increasing, debit what comes in, that is debited, and the reason for which you are having an increase in your bank account, that is credited. Next is receipt of bank loan principal. Now you have raised some amount from the bank by the way of loan. In that case, you will receive cash. If you receive cash, that is debited, and moreover it will increase your liability because you have to repay the loan also. Then it is credited. So in this case, one account is debited, another is credited. If one is giving the benefit, other is receiving the benefit. For every debit, there is a credit. This is called double entry system of accounting. Next example, a bakery purchases a fleet of refrigerated delivery trucks on credit. So you have seen we have a large number of truck fleet companies. Now a bakery purchases a truck fleet and it purchases a truck on credit. Total purchase was of rupees 2,50,000. New set of trucks will be used in business operations and will not be used for at least 10 years. So their life is about 10 years. Debit entry increases the asset balance and credit entry increases the liability balance by the same amount. As truck is coming in the business, debit what comes in, asset is increasing, so it is debited. A liability has arisen because you have not paid for the amount of the truck, that is 2,50,000, so it is credited. Double entry can also occur within the same class. Within the same classes, we have three classes of accounts. One is personal account, other is real account, and third is nominal account. So double entry can take place within the same class. If the bakery's purchase was made with cash, a credit would be made to cash and a debit to asset, still resulting in a balance. Next is, to account for the credit purchase, entries must be made in the different accounts, and different accounts are known as ledgers. As the business has accumulated, has an aggregate of assets, a debit is made to the asset account for what they have purchased for, that is 2,50,000. And to account for the credit purchase, again a note payable is made for the creditor from whom you have made that purchase worth rupees 2,50,000. So now we will discuss about the different advantages of double entry system. First of all, it gives a complete record of every transaction. Business transactions are classified as assets, liabilities, expenses, revenue, capital, and they are recorded as per their nature. Second is knowledge of gross profit or loss. We prepare trading account to find out profit or loss. Third, it gives reliable information at a single look. The system keeps complete record of business transactions in systematic and scientific manner. So, required information can be obtained at one single glance. Information supplied by the system is also relevant, is also reliable. Next is knowledge of net profit or loss. Under the double entry system, we prepare profit and loss account and find net profit and net loss depending upon the situation and transactions involved in the business. Moreover, it also provides us the knowledge of all assets and all liabilities of the business. Next are the disadvantages of the business. First of all, errors of omission. Omission means to forget to record. Omission means that you have forget to record, you have number of transactions and one of the transactions you didn't record. That is known as error of omission. In the case the whole transaction is not recorded in the books of accounts. Suppose the bakery shop has purchased raw material of 1 lakh but it has not recorded it due to any omitted error. The same mistake cannot be deducted because it is fully ignored. So the trial balance will tally in spite of such errors of omission in case of such unknowing mistakes occur. Next is errors of principle. The double entry is based upon the fact that every debit must have an equal credit, so it will not be able to detect the mistake such as Ravi's account is debited in case of cash sales to Ravi instead of cash account or building account in place of repairs account. Now this is, suppose you have purchased goods from Ravi for cash. So entry should be purchase account debit to cash account. But what you have done, Ravi's account debit to cash account. You are debiting Ravi also and showing the payment of cash also. It means you are not following the principles of accounting. Next is compensating errors. Compensating errors is in which one account can be used in place of another account but it will not affect your accounting details. Suppose if Kevin's account is by mistake debited with 15 rupees less and Mimi's account is by mistake credited with rupees 15 more. So the difference of 15 is compensated by another account. Like in maths you do plus and minus approach. Plus minus, minus, plus minus cancel each other. So one debit and one credit, if on the opposite side, they cancel each other with the same amount. So in this case, trial balance will match because mistakes will remain in accounts. So this was all about double entry system of accounting. I hope the topic is now clear to all of you. Read the PDF given and do refer the correlated links for the more clarity of the concepts, double entry systems and the source documents which we use, and answer the following questions. What are the 5 source documents? What are the different types of source documents? What is common about these documents? What are the 6 books of original entry? Give their examples. How do you calculate double entry? And what is double entry system? Explain it with the help of examples. What are the rules of double entry system? What are the golden rules of double entry system? What is double entry format? Thank you, and we will continue with the same chapter with the recording and passing of journal entries by tomorrow.